Hello everyone, my name is Scousmouse and welcome back to another video on my channel. As you can see, I'm not alone today. I am with my mate Terry. Now, Terry is in a bit of a mood. He's got his back to me at the moment. I don't think he likes being in this glass cage. But Tez, I needed you in there just while we were doing what... Oh, alright mate, you're running away from me. Right, let's move this now. What we're going to be doing in today's video was actually requested by one of my patrons, and that was, how do I move villages around? What are the different ways to do it over both short and long distance? So I'm going to be talking about that today, and using this thing behind me, I'm also going to be showing you how to get them up and down if you come across any cliffs or drops or what have you. So stick around and we'll get talking about it, and hopefully you'll be able to start moving your villages around nice and easy. So firstly, we're going to talk about moving villages over a shorter distance. Okay, and the way I like to move them over a short distance is by popping them in a little boat. Now if I take these things here, the way I would, let's just get a block as well so we can get in here. Okay, so we've got our little fella here. We're going to call this chap Kevin. And what we're going to do, we've got Kevin in a little area here, so I'd recommend boxing them in somewhere. Now if you've come across a village or something like that, block the door up and you can keep them nice and confined, ready to move them however you want. Now what I'm going to do in Kevin's little space here is pop a boat down, and then I'm going to hop down in here and I'm going to give him a shove, and as you can see, Kev is now in the boat, and I can right click and get in the boat with him, and then I can break these blocks and I can move around with Kevin. It's quite slow, but we can move around anywhere we want to go. Now the problem with moving in boats is that you can't go up anywhere. Okay, you can go down, but you can't go up. So if I back off here a little bit, what we're going to do is you can either get out of your boat to do this or stay in it. But we're going to place, we'll get out of our boat, so do it properly. We want a piston facing upwards like that, and make sure you've got a redstone torch or a lever or something like that to activate it. So we're going to put the boat on top of the piston, place our redstone torch, and then we'll be able to move forward. And then if we were moving up a hill, we would just keep repeating this process until we get to the top of the hill. If you get to a place where you need to go down, that's easy peasy. You'll just go down, and we can go down over here again. But then, oh no, we've gone the wrong way. So let's go up here again. So we're going to jump out of our boat, place our piston facing upwards, back in the boat, on top of the piston, and get our redstone torch, and away we go. Nice and simple. So because the boats are so slow moving around, this I'd only really recommend if you're going a short distance. Okay, I wouldn't recommend using this method to go long distance. Thanks Kev, you're free to go son. I wouldn't really recommend that method if you're going long distances that are going to take more than, say, you know, a game day, because it'll just be an absolute pain in the butt, and you'll come across lots of little hills and it'll take you forever. So let's talk about how we would move them over a longer distance. So for moving these guys over a longer distance, you'll need to decide how you're going to do it, and that'll all depend on the resources you have available to you, and how far you're going to move them, and how many of these guys you're planning on moving. For this demonstration, I'm going to be moving them only over to that pillar you can see over there. But the principles I'll show you here, it won't make a difference whether you're moving them 50 blocks or 5,000 blocks. You'll be able to move them just as easy. Now I've got these guys penned in here. Okay, in a little pen, and similar to we mentioned with Kev that was in here, who's now off enjoying his freedom somewhere, you can get them penned into a house or a pit. You know, what you could do is make a little pit in the ground, and then using the first method in the boat, put them into the pit in the boat, and then you can do it that way. In fact, let's show you what I mean by that. Let me just get Kev here back in a boat. Now hopefully he's not going to run away from me. There we go. So Kev's in a boat. So if I had a few guys to move and they were at different places around the village, I could dig a hole that was too deep. I could get our dude here. Now what? Let's do it. Yeah, we could just drop it in here. Get out. Break our boat. Now I'm going to need a block, aren't I? So if you're doing it this way, just make sure you break that block before they get out, and then leave them in the pit. Okay, and you can then get them out using the method I'm about to show you. Now it's important to note, as a little side hint, if you press on your keyboard F3 and B, you can show the hitboxes of the villagers. Now the blue line indicates the line of sight, but it's the white box that we're interested in today, because that is his hitbox. So even if I aim right here in between his head, if you like, in the edge of the box, even though I'm not touching him, that's his hitbox, so he will take damage and he will interact with anything in that space. So when we've got them in a box like these guys are here, if I remove this corner column, and then let's get our stuff out of here. If I get a bucket of water and I place, so this is too deep, this is just an on top of the land version of that pit, but I imagine the real world you may do it with the pit. If I place this in one corner, that's going to make those guys flow into that corner. Now if I come round here, you can see his hitbox is coming ever so slightly outside of this corner. So we're going to take advantage of this, and we're going to place a powered rail with a redstone torch or a lever, however you want to power that is fine. And then we're going to place our rails. Now this is where your personal preference comes into it. If you want to do it all in one go, if you've got enough rails to get them there in one go, then by all means just set out your rails and get them there in one go. If you haven't, and you feel, you know, if I was moving all these guys and I only had, I don't know, maybe 50 rails, what I would do would be, in fact it's what I've done, it's what I did in Avatopia, would be to just set out some rails, going a little bit at a time, ending with a pit. And then if we get ourselves a minecart, just a normal minecart, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to send this minecart into that corner where the hitbox, and what it's going to do when this hit, because as you can see the hitbox of this is inside, so once this hits this corner, the two hitboxes are going to interlock and it will pull poor old Jeffrey through this corner and into the minecart, and he will be carted away. And if I've spaced out the powered rails enough, which I think I have, little Jeffrey will end up in that pit. So let's see how that goes for us. So it's picked him up, and then it will take him all the way along, and he is in that pit. So we can then pick up the minecart. If you were doing this in survival, you obviously would need to go down into the pit to retrieve your minecart. But then, you don't, if you've got powered rails, you don't even need to go all the way back there. You can just leave the minecart to go. It's pulled George out of there, and George is currently on Joffrey's head, so we'll get our minecart, and then we'll send that back to go and fetch Stacy. So now Stacy comes back, and she goes there. And you just repeat this until you've got all the villagers that you need to move in your pit. Yep. Okay, is that them all? I don't want to leave anyone, you see. Now, again, if you were doing this in survival, you'd either come back and pick up your bucket of water and take it with you, or have more than one bucket of water. Now, we would need to then look at moving them out from here. So we do the same kind of thing, and it's just rinse and repeat at this stage. We've got the water in one corner. It's going to take them to there. So we want to take out the corner block diagonal there. Now, you need to dig out 2 here because powered rails can be a bit of a nuisance when going up. Didn't want to do that, did I? Don't be like Scouse. Don't do that. Making sure you don't wash your rails away. I'm gonna go up. And then from here, it's just rinse and repeat. If I place a little block there. In fact, on next, we don't need to. We're not going to take them any further than that. So obviously, this is going to the corner. You can already see there that hitbox is where we want it. So we're just going to give this a shove. It'll pick up, who's that? Stacy. It's got Stacy, and it's going to drop her off there. But if we were going miles into the distance, we would just keep going. However, there you go, you're free to go. However many, tracks and rails and stuff you've got, just go as far as you can on each run. Now, you may come across, it may get dark while you're doing this. If it does get dark and you do need to rest or sleep just to keep the bad guys away, just make sure that you are lighting it up. And because these are too deep, these pits, just throw the water stopping them. If you've not got water there, they'll sink down, put a lid on it, and that will stop any bad guys getting in there. If I'm moving these over long distances, I tend to leave little towers like you can see there, just so I can see where each station has been as I go, if I'm just moving them from one to the other. And you can move them then as far as you need to, as many villages as you need to, and it's nice and easy. It's a little bit time consuming, but it's not too bad. And the last thing I want to show you is how to get them up and how to get them down. This is a very simple bubble lift. Okay, now a bubble lift is a column of water source blocks sitting on top of soul sand. And they are really effective for getting yourself and other materials up to high places, because these can go on and on and on. And villagers will use these. If I just block, let's make it look pretty, Scouts. Don't be cheaping out on the people. Okay, so if I throw, let's see, what name should we give this villager? It's a lady villager. We're gonna call her Debbie. So Debbie's gonna go in, and villagers always seem to like bubble lifts. They always seem to walk straight in them, in my experience. So we're gonna throw Debbie here in a minute, and in theory she's gonna walk straight forward and up. So if you needed to get her up somewhere high, just make sure you have the top prepared, ready for her, so she can go off and walk somewhere. If you put a workstation somewhere, they should pathfind to it, so that's a tip. Just have a bed or a workstation there, and they'll pathfind to that, and it'll make it a bit easier once you get to the top. And for coming down, I've just made here a little bit of a drop with a slime block at the bottom. So what we're going to do, we're going to put Debbie in. She's going to look at me, and then hopefully she will turn around into the bubble lift. Come on. And she's up at the top. Now, to get villagers down is not normally quite so easy. Sometimes you'll need to give them a bit of a shove. Now, because this is slime at the bottom, it's a bit That didn't work today, because I'm working on a very small platform as well. If you give them a shove, make a bigger platform, they'll bounce, and once they've finished bouncing, she should walk out of the opening that is there at the bottom. Come on, Debs, out you come. I don't know why I've got them signs there. There we go, and she is out. So if I needed to get her down in the world, then a bit of slime and push her down the hole. If I need to get her up, then we will do a bubble lift. And that is how I move villagers around when I do play on servers, or if I play in my single player world. Generally speaking, whenever I've had to move them, it's been over long distance, so I tend to favour the minecart way. But you know, the boat works just as well. And obviously, if you need to move them over water, have I got water here anywhere? Have I got any big water? Because they're just little waters, aren't they? There. Let's go over here. Okay. If we needed, just give him a push. If you need to move them across the ocean, of course, throw them in a boat. And row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. I hope you found this useful. And thank you for my patron Pikiti, who requested this video. So I hope it's been useful for you. And if you have any questions about moving villagers or about anything Minecraft related, just let me know in the comments and I will answer it as best I can. And until the next time, Scouse Mouse out. Throw a boat at you.